Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how the Max for Life device plays or works and how you can use it with other system AUDIOCANVAS. First, remember to set the audio to sense only for a track or either audio or MIDI so that it plays or works correctly. Placer is a Max for Life device that allows you to place and move a sound source in rather 16th channel speaker system AUDIOCANVAS. Placer allows you to place a sound directly in a speaker or between two or more speakers and move a sound between the 16 speakers in any way you would want. To open the main menu of Placer, click the Open button, which will open a new window. This is the main menu of Placer. To place or move a sound, drag the yellow dot to either a speaker or between two or more speakers. A speaker is represented by a gray circle that represents the speaker's area of effect. By placing the speaker at the edge of a speaker circle, the sound will be less audible in that speaker. The closer the yellow dot is to the center of a speaker circle, the more audible the sound is in that speaker. Before moving or placing sounds via Placer, the routing section in Placer needs to be set up correctly. Before this is done, you need to have set up 8 audio tracks that works as outputs for Radar's AUDIOCANVAS system as shown in a previous video. The routing section for Placer is located in the lower left corner under Output Routing and Gain. Each speaker pair, 1 and 2 and so forth, needs to be routed to its corresponding output track that was set up in a previous video. To set up the correct routing for a speaker pair, first select a speaker pair in the top menu in Output Routing and Gain. Then click on the drop-down menu and select the corresponding output track for the speaker pair. Speaker pair 3 and 4 should be routed to the output track with the outputs 3 and 4 and so forth for each speaker pair. Each speaker pair has a volume fader that can increase or decrease a speaker's overall volume output. That means a sound moving into a speaker with a -3 dB fader will have a lower volume with a speaker with a 0 dB fader. The speaker side dials controls the vertical size of 3 groups of speakers by increasing or decreasing the gray circle around the speaker. This is done via the dials or by typing in values between 0 and 0.2. Double-click on a speaker dial to reset it to its initial value, which corresponds to 0.1. The 3 speaker groups are the foyer/hallway, speakers 1 to 6, the toilet, speakers 7 to 14, and the pissoir, speakers 15 to 16. The 3 speaker dials can be automated in Ableton. To do so, right-click on a dial and click Show Automation in a new lane. The speaker size dial doesn't control the physical size of a speaker, but instead the size of the speaker inside Placer. By placing the yellow dot at the edge of a speaker circle, the sound will be less audible. The closer the yellow dot is to the center of a speaker circle, the more audible the sound is in that speaker. A smaller speaker size will lead to a lower precision for a sound's presence in a speaker when moving or placing the yellow dot. At the same time, a speaker will not overlap with other speakers, and higher precision in terms of placement in speaker to speaker can be achieved. A larger speaker size will lead to a higher precision for a sound's presence in a speaker when moving or placing the yellow dot. At the same time, a speaker will overlap with other speakers, and a lower precision in terms of placement in speaker to speaker can be achieved. Since Placer routes the sound from its parent track, for example, a guitar loop, or in this case an operator with a erosion effect, to 8 audio tracks that works as output tracks to the 16 speakers, Placer should be at the end of the signal chain. That means that all instruments and sound processing via effects should take place before Placer. Besides placing a sound in a speaker or between speakers, Placer can also move a sound around in 2 ways seen in the movement section. The movement of sound is synced to the start-stop of Ableton's transport, and route can only be drawn when Ableton's transport is stopped. The first way is to use pre-drawn routes. To use a pre-drawn route, first select a room, either the foyer or hallway or the toilet. Then click on one of the 4 pre-drawn routes. This will draw the selected route in the selected room. To start the sound's movement, press play in Ableton's transport. To stop the sound's movement, press stop in Ableton's transport. The speed of the movement can be adjusted via the speed dial, which can also be automated. A value of 1 corresponds to the original speed of the pre-drawn route. Values below 1 will slow the movement, where 0.5 being half speed, and values above 1 will speed up the movement, where 2.0 will be double speed. To delete a pre-drawn route, press the clear button. It is also possible to create a custom route for the sound to follow. To do this, first stop Ableton's transport. Then press the draw button to enable the custom drawing function. To draw a route, move the yellow dot around by pressing and holding down the left mouse button while moving the mouse. When the custom route is finished, release the left mouse button, which will stop the drawing. To start the sound's movement, press play in Ableton's transport. The speed of the movement can be adjusted via the speed dial, which can also be automated. A value of 1 corresponds to the original speed which the route was drawn with. It is possible to create complex movement speed by moving the mouse faster or slower when drawing a route. Values below 1 will slow the movement, where 0.5 being half speed, and values above 1 will speed up the movement, where the value of 2.0 being double speed. To delete a custom route, press the clear button. Working with multiple sound sources in AUDIOCANVAS via Placer, it is often necessary to see the position of multiple sound sources at the same time. Placer works as a floating window that can be placed anywhere on the screen, which means the Placer can be minimized to hide it and maximized to show it. That also means that multiple Placer windows can be open at the same time and be placed next to each other. In that way, the position and movement of multiple sound sources can be edited and seen at the same time via 2 or more open Placers. It is not possible to use return tracks while using Placer, since it grabs the audio before it is sent out to the master channel or return channel. It is also not possible to use multiple chains in effects rack while using Placer. That means that you can't do parallel processing with 2 or more Placers using return tracks or multiple chains in effect racks. The way to do parallel processing by Placer is by creating 3 tracks. The first track should have your sample or MIDI instrument in it with its output set to sense only. Next, create 2 new audio tracks, each with a Placer in it. They should also have their audio set to sense only. The two tracks can be used for parallel processing by setting the input audio to the track with the sample or MIDI instrument. The two effect tracks should each have all out at the end of the signal chain. You can now load different effects on each track to process the original sound difference. In that way, you can create evolving spatial sounds by automating the volume of each of the effect tracks.